Is about to hit the fan. Russia ready to launch a massive retaliation attack in response to what happened just a few hours ago, an assassination that was carried out on a top Russian general in Moscow. Now, this man right here is Igor Kirillov. He was just assassinated by the CIA-backed Ukrainian SBU in Moscow. Now, I'm very clear when I say that. Ukraine doesn't do anything on its own. It is all run by the CIA and NATO by proxy. That's how they carried this out. In other words, NATO just carried out an assassination inside of Moscow on a top Russian general. Let that sink in. This man, by the way, Igor, was in fact investigating the biolabs in Ukraine. Oh, now it makes sense. You know, those very same biolabs tied to Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. Convenient, isn't it? The same
that
biolabs.
Victoria Nuland admitted existed and pretend that they're just there to reverse engineer bioweapons.
Yeah.
It's only a defensive organization that's there doing biolab research, bioweapon research.
So these are the same biolabs that were carrying out COVID research in Ukraine before the COVID pandemic hit the world. Here now, by the way, is the moment. We'll show you. This is an image of the e-bike. This was planted outside of his apartment complex. So as he's coming out of his this building, I'm not sure exactly if it's his apartment or his building, coming outside of the building in Moscow, there he is walking out. And that bike there that's on the side highlighted in red is the e-bike, and the handles explode because there's a bomb, an IED planted inside of that. And when this goes off, destruction. And
in a civilian area. Carelessly in a civilian area. This is not a military base, even though he's a Russian official. So no regard for whatever collateral damage or loss of life that there could have been and was, because he was with his aide at the time.
So how did this IED planted there? Apparently 300, it's a large, massive amount of TNT that was used, according to sources on this. Now, Putin's right-hand man and his attack dog, Dmitry Medvedev, just posted that this will lead to, quote, inevitable retribution against Ukraine's leadership. Russia knows the exact location, by the way, of every one of Ukraine's top leadership. Every one of them. Does that mean a decapitation attack against the top leadership in Ukraine? I saw many people wondering, is this open season on Zelensky? You just took out a top Russian general? If that's what we're doing,
right? That's what we want to do. It's a really dangerous escalation.
Yeah. So just so you understand how important this guy is, Kirillov, he has been a vocal critic of what he described as Western-led operations in Ukraine. He's been very outspoken against NATO. He accused the U.S. of orchestrating dangerous biological weapons programs in these Ukrainian labs, implicating various high-profile figures in the United States and agencies, by the way, including the Pentagon and private corporations. In August 2022, Kirillov alleged that the U.S. pharmaceutical companies backed by the Democratic Party leadership had profited from the pandemics, suggesting COVID-19 was deliberately unleashed, according to him. And of course, this all comes back to Joe and Hunter Biden. Kirillov's associations or accusations extended to companies like Black and Viatch. Remember Black and Viatch, which he claimed were involved in the classified research on bat viruses in Ukrainian labs, dating back to 2015. He then linked the company to Hunter Biden, EcoHealth Alliance, and even the Wuhan Institute of Virology. All of this being done in this proxy of Ukraine. By late 2023, under Kirillov's leadership, the Kremlin directly accused figures like Anthony Fauci, former U.S. health officials, and Metabiota. Remember, Metabiota, of course, was involved in the complicity of the COVID-19 pandemic. So he made these accusations based on what these research labs were doing in Ukraine. That you were funding, by the way, all of it. You were funding all of this. So he also uncovered that they were linked to Joe and Hunter Biden, Barack Obama, George Soros, and Hillary Clinton, as well as global elites in the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, as well. And also the CIA. So we have confirmation of the CIA's involvement in these biolabs. So that's why NATO and the CIA had this guy killed this morning. Last night, by the way, Putin was speaking So this happened just after, a few hours after this speech, where Putin already was warning that NATO had crossed his red line. And that means that it's open season now on NATO targets, which is exactly what the deep state warmongers want. They want full-on hot war with Russia and their proxies in Iran. So last night, Putin warned that NATO has officially crossed their red line, and this means NATO countries are now fair game for Russia to attack. Watch.
США продолжают накачивать фактически нелегитимный правящий режим в Киеве оружием и деньгами. Отправляют наемников и военных советников и тем самым поощряют дальнейшую эскалацию конфликта. Доводят нас до красной черты, через которую мы отступать уже не можем. Начинаем отвечать, тут же пугают свое население, тогда еще в давние времена советской, сейчас российской угрозы.